I'm Ryan Gill from Gill's Primitive Archery, and I would like to welcome you on my newest adventure of taking big game with an Atlatl. Now, while we're not going to be shooting any game in this video, we're going to talk about some penetration differences and working on our gear to see what we really need to be successful in potentially hunting pigs in the near future. So let's head on over to the practice target. We'll explain what we're going to be doing today. Alright, let's talk about what we're going to be really doing today with our penetration test. Now behind me here is a brand new target from one of the big stores that you can buy. It's just solid styrofoam, about 10 inches thick or so, maybe a little bit more. And what we're doing is starting off with a brand new target that's got no holes in it. Of course you can see some holes because I already did the test. But it's got no holes in it, so it should be a very consistent medium to test our arrows and darts into. Now, before I go any further, I don't want there to be any confusion. There is no comparison between a foam target and an animal. Foam is much denser than an animal, as much as you would probably think it's the other way around in some cases, considering bones and whatnot. But if you consider shooting through a rib cage, foam will stop an arrow much faster. So the numbers that you see are going to be greatly enhanced one way or another. So if we have a medium number of, say, like 8 inches of penetration, and then the next one 7 inches, that's not going to equate to 1 inches of penetration difference in an animal, because that's not very much at all. That is probably going to be a very significant amount with inside of an animal, and vice versa. If you see a large number, that is going to equate to a bigger amount of penetration. But this is no comparison to flesh. What we're doing is using a controlled situation, using a bow and arrow that I have taken several big game species with. I mean, I'm a very accomplished primitive bow hunter, and now we're going to move into the Atlatl. So what we're doing, taking target tips to eliminate the variables of the different stone points being used. This way we're using the same metal point every time, just to measure basic penetration compared to a bow that is already proven to shoot pass-throughs on deer and pigs. So as you'll see, there's going to be some differences in this test. So without going any further into it, I guess let's go ahead and make some shots and see how they measure up. Alright, we'll take a little Sharpie mark on it so we don't lose the spot. Measure from the very tip. And we got 8 3/4 exactly. Write that. Smaller one we gave the information on. A Sharpie mark. The dart. And that got exactly 7 inches of penetration. Doesn't look very good for this one. Alright, our impact was not as clean as I would have liked it to be, so we're going to redo that one again, but just for fun, let's see where we're at. This one penetrated 10 1/4 inches. Quite a difference, but let's try it one more time. Just a tiny bit deeper than the first one. 10 3/4 inches. So we had 8 3/4 on the arrow that we know kills game very, very well. A very unsatisfactory amount, I guess, from the smaller Atlatl dart. And now we have 2 inches in this dense foam deeper on the big Atlatl dart than the arrow that we know is proven. So we're off to a good start. Alright, we got our test results in. I got a little cheat sheet written down here so we have all the information I can read to you. And what I'll do is slide on over here, because on the screen right here I'll list all these numbers so you can read them. So we're going to start with the bow, because you're going to want to know what I'm using for a control. You know, like I said, I've killed plenty of big game animals with this and gotten complete pass-throughs or almost complete pass-throughs with this same bow and arrow setup. The bow is 58 pounds, shoots a 520 grain cane arrow, and we get about 160 feet per second, and we got 8 3/4 inches penetration on the foam block behind me. Okay, so that's our control. We know that works. Killed lots of game with that. It works. We want a good comparison. We want as much or more penetration with the Atlatl before we take it hunting on big game. So now the 7-foot dart that we threw is 3,100 grains is how much the thrower weighs. Okay, that may not be super important to know, but it's good comparison. Just knowing what all equipment we're working with. The dart is 1,900 grains, and we got 7 inches of penetration on a very controlled throw. It's very important with these Atlatls. If you throw them super hard as you can, you're going to lose some of your accuracy. We'll learn that over a period of a couple of years. And so what we want is really straight dart flight, as straight as we can, because that's going to promote better penetration, and that's very hard to do when you are throwing exceptionally hard. We don't want to throw really light. We just want a nice, medium, consistent throw that's going to put the dart on target. We need the mass of the thrower and the mass of the dart to do the penetrating for us. Okay, so getting back to that, we've got 7 inches of penetration. That's 1 3/4 inches less in a solid foam target than our proven bow and arrow. The sad thing is, those aren't good numbers to me. I don't like 7 inches on this. This is, I think that could equate to very little penetration on the animal at the end of the day. I could be wrong. It's probably enough to kill him, especially with a steel point, but I want better. So, the 9-foot dart, the thrower weighs 4,350 grains, so it's over 1,000 grains heavier in just the thrower. The thrower on the large one is 30 inches long in comparison to the short one that's 26 inches long. Our dart weight is 2,900 grains, so that's 1,000 grains more in the 9-foot dart. In throwing it at the same velocity of throw, very controlled, very accurate, we got 10 3/4 inches of penetration. So we've got 2 inches more in this solid foam target than our proven bow and arrow. So to me, although yeah, this target back here, it's not an animal, it's not flesh, but we're on the right track. I think we got a winning combination here.